Okay, so we have the results back. It's moved it 3% from 87 to 90.
Right now it's a combination of everybody's just writing their own skills, right? Skills are a little bit personal, right? You prompt your LLM, like your coding agent, like you do a session. At the end of the session, you want to have this repeatable thing, right? So you say, okay, just save it as a skill, right?
So I was walking through the expo hall at AI Engineer in San Francisco, and I saw this brilliant pure light, and I was blinded by it. And I looked up, and it was Krish walking towards me, and he said, "Simon, I need you to evaluate a skill of mine." And I said, "Krish, what skills have you got?" And you said, "I have no idea." So what we're going to do, this is Krish. Krish, what do you do at Snyk?
I head product strategy at Snyk.
Product strategy at Snyk?
That is indeed the case.
That sounds very important.
That's maybe.
I would have thought, they'd need to find someone smarter than you to do that role, though.
Simon left, unfortunately. Now there's no more smart people at Snyk.
Okay.
You were the last one.
But you're a good alternative. That's fine. That's fine. So, Krish, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to go to GitHub. We're going to go to Snyk.
Yep.
Let's search for a skill. For a SKILL.md. Let's find not MSD. Let's search for a SKILL.md.
Yep.
Let's find something that we're gonna evaluate and run a review across.
Okay. There's one, the SAW MCP skill.
This one? You know this one?
Yeah, this is for creating targets. So it's our dynamic kind of scanning, security testing product. And it's API first, so we created these skills to help our customers add targets to the product.
Okay.
Using Claude.
So let's come here. Let's make a directory called Snyk Skills. Then I'm gonna git clone this fella here, and then we'll cd into SAW MCP, and I'm gonna run Tessl agent in here.
It's very exciting. Tessl agent not found.
No, look at that. Look at that. See. Okay. Right, so we're going to run Tessl agent here. Now I'm going to say, okay, let's say please, because we don't know how long we're going to be above agents for. So it's important in the run-up that we apply, just in case, right?
No, I'm doing the same thing.
That's good.
Just in case they take over, right?
And they got good memories these days.
They got book memories.
Say, please take a look in this project. In fact, let's have a look in this project and tell me which skills exist.
Okay,
let's have a look if there's just that one or if there's multiple. I'm going to YOLO this. There we go.
So that is your agent. That is the agent that you built.
This is the Tessl agent. So it's an agent which essentially is. Oh look, we've got two there. It's an agent that essentially is there ready. I'd say it's dedicated to making sure your agent enablement is as good as it can be. Looking at optimizing the skills and the environment that you have from a context point of view. And it also works a little bit more to getting you to the next stages, small step by small step, into closer to a software factory.
Awesome.
Okay, so we have two here. We have the SAW API target configuration. We have it's the same thing. Is this the same thing?
So let's see.
No, SAW Web. SAW Web and SAW API.
So one is for API targets. So this is basically for testing APIs and testing web applications. So one of them is kind of configuring the test for the web target. So like if you have like an application to test, like a web URL, right? So that's one skill. And the other skill is just like if you have an API to test and you want to send kind of like dynamically test the API for security. So that's the other skill. So there are two skills here.
So which one should we evaluate?
Let's do the API one. Let's
API
see what
target
happens.
configuration.
SAW
API target configuration skill. We'll say use the Simon workspace. Right. So what this is going to do is it's going to run. Hopefully it will run Tessl review run. And what Tessl review run does, in fact, it's looking at Tessl review help there, and then it's going to run. There it is. It's run Tessl review run.
Okay.
It's running it against the SAW API target configuration, and what this is going to do is it's going to run a review, which is an agentic review. So it kicks off a review LLM-as-a-judge style.
Yeah.
It looks at the best practices from Anthropic, and it will say how close, how well has this skill been written compared to the Anthropic best practices. Now that's not to say that the Anthropic best practices are absolutely perfect. So if you get 0% here, it might just be that the Anthropic best practices are rubbish.
Maybe.
Well, I'm using that as a caveat, just because we don't know what's going to come back here, so I'm using that as a caveat. Whatever the score is, we should be able to do a fix, and we should be able to say, how can we improve this a little bit? And so we'll have a look at it and see, where we can potentially improve.
Well, hopefully it's not 100 then, because then there's nothing to improve. Well, let's see.
Do you know what? This is you're setting yourself up for a 4 here. Hopefully it's not 100. We'll see. I tell you what, if it's 100.
Okay, you give me some swag.
What do you want to bet? If it's 100, you can have this Tessl swag, dilly-dallying.
Okay, so...
I like your hat. How about we swap?
Okay, so if it's
not 100, I'll take your hat.
Okay.
If it is 100, you can have this
hat. I mean...
Deal?
Deal.
Deal. Well, you shouldn't have said deal, because I've just seen the score.
I saw the score as well.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so let's take a look. So the score... It's actually, do you know what? 87%.
87. Wow.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Now let's have a look at where. So it's already a strong, usable skill. Sorry, let me just grab this. Sorry.
I got the hat as well.
There we go.
Okay,
you got this hat.
And that's a good trade.
I'll wear this
That's
one.
That's a good trade.
So this is already. Wow, your head's pretty big. Your head's pretty big, Chris. I'll take that off for many reasons, but I'll put it there for now. This is already a strong, usable skill. The reviewer liked that it has clear routing, API target only, good sibling skill disambiguation. Now this is super important. Right? So you've got 2 skills, and it's important to be able to determine when to use one, when to use the other. And this is very often when we talk about activation. One of the biggest problems of agent activation isn't just do I use your skill or not, it's do I use the right skill when I've got a combination of multiple skills to pick from. So that's actually really useful. Good handling of duplicate target warning, strong actionable authentication examples, that's great. But the skill is too dense, too much detailed authentication reference in line with the SKILL.md, making it less concise and less progressively disclosed. So what that means is a skill doesn't get fully loaded normally. It gets progressively disclosed. So you load pieces of a skill at a time. So what it's probably going to suggest is you take a lot of that SKILL.md, break it into subfiles, and reference those different subfiles. And then when the agent realizes I want to go deeper into here, it'll load that. But if it doesn't need to, it won't load that. So it avoids context bloat.
So this is basically this progressive disclosure.
Exactly.
Content bloat.
And actually, if you look here, the progressive disclosure is 2 out of 3. Conciseness probably from the size of the skill. So this tends to be that. Specificity, one of the hardest words to say in the English language.
I cannot pronounce it.
No one actually knows what that means. It's a true story. No one knows. Many have studied it.
Many people study this word,
but nobody knows. So we'll just say it's 2 out of 3. But we don't know how to fix it because we don't know what it means. All right. There's a bunch of recommended fixes. What we're going to do, because we're agentic developers, is we're going to ignore it.
We're going to ignore it.
And we're just going to say run Tessl review fix, and we're just going to assume that the fixes are good. And we'll apply those fixes, and we'll blindly.
So basically, I'm trusting Tessl to do that and just push to production. Perfect, man. I'm all in. I'm all in on AI. Like let's just go. Let's just do it.
Well, what we're going to do is we'll show a diff afterwards, and we'll see what it's changed. It's not quite that bad. We'll see what it's changed, and then we can accept or
can we
reject
have an agent to see the diff? So I mean, like I just
that's exactly what we'll do. We'll get the agent to do a git diff. What you mean? Get an agent to review it?
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'm on board.
One agent is just doing the fix, the other can just do the diff review, right? And now we can go for a beer.
You had me at let's go for a beer, so that's fun.
That's perfect.
So let's have a look. Where was that? Can you remember? Snyk API web maybe?
I don't remember, man.
Config. It was config skills. There we go. And it was the API target. And there's a single SKILL.md. This is the problem.
Yeah, it's just bloated. Like it's too long.
It's just bloated. So what I suspect is it's going to do is it's going to reduce this, and you'll see extra files here. That's what I suspect. But we'll see. Because what happens is it tends to read too much of this file. It might update the description as well. We'll see, because very often the name and description are the 2 pieces that the agent reads before knowing when to activate the full skill or not. So we'll see what happens. So how do you folks use? Obviously, thanks to Snyk as well, because we use Snyk within Tessl to test every single skill that we have on the registry from a security point of view.
That's true.
But how do you use Tessl? How do you use skills internally?
Internally, so I think right now it's a combination of everybody's just writing their own skills, right? Skills are a little bit personal, right? So like you prompt your LLM, like your coding agent, like you do a session. At the end of the session, you want to have this repeatable thing, right?
Yeah.
So you say, okay, just save it as a skill, right? So it's kind of you have your personal skills. That's kind of one thing that we do. The other thing that we do, we try to slowly standardize across the organization, so kind of share these skills with other people, right? And also standardize on some skills. So for example, if there's a skill that knows how to push stuff to production, we want to have like that part of our platform team publishes a skill that developers can use, because then it can pass all of the security and quality kind of requirements, right? So like if our developers kind of write a skill to push to production themselves, it's like a little bit of a freaking out our security team.
Yeah, of course.
So like we're doing these two things broadly, right? Like internally how we use skills.
And let's talk about, actually, there was the what was the report that you did? It was toxic skills.
Toxic skills.
And it's amazing to see how many skills through kind of just like poor wording, poor writing, actually introduce potential security issues, prompt injection, those types of things. What can people do differently to actually write skills that are closer to having fewer or no security issues in there?
Use Tessl, right? This is use Tessl Agent. This one.
I'll tell you what. If Tessl gets it to 100%, I keep the hat. If it's not, we swap back.
We swap back? No, I don't want to swap back.
I
want to keep the hat.
Okay.
I mean, use Tessl. Use Snyk. We have
So you can run the Snyk tool independently, though, right? So you can run it at the command line.
We have a tool called Agent Scan. So that tool is available on GitHub. GitHub/Snyk/Agent-Scan. I think is the repository there.
Yeah.
And you can just go there, run the tool. Point it at your, it kind of scans your file system, but you can also point it at a skill, and it will give you like a security and advice review of that skill. Right. So that's for the skills that you write yourself, but also very important for third-party skills, because kind of like these third-party skills might be malicious. Right. So So that's recommended for sure. So I think that's the main thing really for kind of skill security. There will be a different categories of problems for first-party skills and third-party skills. So I think this space is still evolving. So we still need to understand, what advice to give to developers who are developing their own skills on kind of security, right? Like that's maybe a bigger problem to solve than just kind of looking for prompt injections, which are malicious. That's a little bit easier. Like a work in progress, but we'll get there.
Cool. Okay, so. We have the results back. So it's only moved it plus 3%. I'm still going to wear this then. It's moved it 3% from 87 to 90, and it reached the target score of 90. Let's have a look. Acting on the content judge's suggestions, I've moved 4 detailed API authentication method code blocks out of SKILL.md into the new references. So it has moved that.
Right. So it split the skill into smaller pieces.
Absolutely. So now one of the big changes is it will now progressively disclose that to the agent as and when it needs those specific pieces.
Right.
So that's the kind of big one, and there's a whole bunch of changes here that you'll actually see. So first, have a look at this now. Now we've got this references here, and you'll see extra hosts, logout detection, sequence formatting, and you've also got the SKILL.md that at this stage will almost certainly.
Yeah, it's much smaller.
Hang on, is it this one? No, sorry, it's this one.
This one, yeah.
This one's the one I wanted. It's got the API authentication MD, and in here you'll at some point reach out to that. Hasn't as much as I thought. I was probably expecting it to be more.
To split more.
For the full code for each authentication method, go and have a look at this. Until it reaches out, and maybe if we was to run it a couple more times, it will probably actually do that again.
Yeah. We still have 10% to go, right? So.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because sometimes we can then have a look at what else it wants to improve and see if it does want to improve and iterate across. Right.
But
hey, not too bad.
That's great. That's great help.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use that now.
Yeah.
Especially as I need to share my skills. I don't know if they are any good. So if it's my personal skills, like maybe that's fine, right?
Yeah.
But I want to share with my team. Like I want to do something like that.
And you can add this into right into the into the pull request checks, and so you can, as soon as a pull request happens on your SKILL.md, you can rerun the review, make sure it's not regressing and those types of things.
And is it available for free for developers?
It's absolutely available for free, so you can try it out. You can get an account straight away, and you have a number of credits on your kind of like free account, and then you can just use that throughout the month, and it gets replenished every month. So
amazing.
Awesome, Chris.
Thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for joining us, and there's you can have that 3% for free. You can take that away with you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thanks
Simon.
for the hat as well. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.